Slightly late start, a lot to coordinate today. I'm already out of breath from it seemed like 100 kids and parents down there at the children's service. And we're going to start on page 37 with a brief Birkat HaShachar. We've abridged the service quite a bit over the last few years. Page 37, Birkat HaShachar, please rise and join John Nolan.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sek kivim l'chapim ben yom u'ben layla. Shasani betzamo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasani ben Chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ukeach Ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Malbish Aromim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Matir Asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Zokek Hafufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Rob haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasalichot Zarkim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamechim B'tzadek Aler. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael B'Tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Anotei Le'Yarev Koah.
Amen.
Turn over to page 69.
Now we may be seated.
Tatzmodo Zecha Hagadol B'kol Shemecha Hagibor Netzach V'hanora Shochenu b'kol ha'yetzurim lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu lehodot lecha lev לשבח לפאר לרומם להדר לברך לעלינו ולחלץ על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן שי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעמנו ירחות עולמות מטעם יד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול ותשבחות אל ההודות האדון הנפלאות הבוחר page 70. Yitkadash, Yitkadash, Shamei Rabbah, V'yalema Yibrak Yutei, V'yamlik Machlutei, V'chayecho, U'yomecho, U'chayecho Beit Yisrael, Ba'adala, U'bizman Kariv, V'imru Omei, Heshmei Ramah, V'varach Le'olam, U'aleh Amaya, Yetborah, V'yishtabach, V'yitpor, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalah, Shemei Kudishah, B'richu Leila, Leila, Mikol Birchata V'shirata, Tush Bechata V'nechemata, Tamiran Yama, V'imru Omein.
Rise on page 71 for the call to prayer.
Barechu et Adonai HaMevorah. Baruch Adonai HaMevorah, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or v'rei Oshem, Oseh shalom, v'rei et hakol, or olam v'yotzar chayim, orom ve'ofel, amar v'yehi.
Bottom of 75.
Or Chadash al Tzion Ta'ir, V'nizkei kulanu me'era le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer ha'me'oro.
Amen. 76.
Baratanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chem Magenu Latera, Chamata Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Ba'or Avotenu, Shebachnu Becha, Avinu Malkeinu. V'ateladenu kechaim, Ketechaneinu Ladeinu, Avinu ha'avaracham, Rachim Aleinu. V'tein belibeinu Lahaminu haskir lishmoa, Li'lamodu lamei lishmor ve'la'asor. U'ayim et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha be'ahava, V'hareinu b'Toratecha, V'dabeinu b'mitzvotecha, V'yachei levaveinu le'alachu irach et shemecha, V'lo nemosh le'olam va'ed, V'lo nemosh le'olam va'ed, Ki b'shem Hashecha hagadol v'hanurah v'hatanu,
Continue on our own. Pages 77 through 78.
Ani Adonai Elohim, Asher hotzeti etchem eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohim. Amen.
Just skip to page 80.
Tehilot Elohim, Baruch Hu Borah, Moshe Bnei Yisrael, L'cha'andu shira b'simcha rabah, Yamru kulam, Mi kavota Elim Adonai, Mi kavota Nedar HaKodesh, Norati Lo Osef Eleh, Shira Chadasha Shehu Gehulim, L'shimcha Svahayam, Yachad Kulam Hodu Be'luchu Ve'yameru, Adonai Imo Le'olam Va'ed, Sur Yisrael, Huma Be'ezrat Yisrael, U'teikinu Mecha, Yehuda Ve'Yisrael, Go'aleinu Adonai Tzavot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Beginning on out loud together on page 81.
Shem Adonai Ekra, Avod Eloteinu, Adonai Tzedektai Tivta, Ufi Agite Dilatecha, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Serah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei אליה. האל הגדול הגיבור הנורא, אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לפני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מיסוד החיים ונונים, ומלמד דעת מבינים, הבטחים בתפילה ובתחתונים, וחלות ולחנים בני מלך מלכי המלכים, ואדוני האדונים. זכרנו לחיים, מלך החפץ וחיים, וקדמנו ספר החיים, למענך אלוקים חיים, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, וחיי ביתי אתה רב להושיע. מחכה חיים בחסד, וחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים תמונתו משעמק עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך מהימים ומחייב ומצליח ישועה. מי כמוך אחר רחמים, זוכר יצורת לחיים ורחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, בחיי המתים.
Page 86.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אל העציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. ואתה הקדוש יושב, תהילות ישראל, תהילות ישראל, אל נא.
Yes, I did hear her. Now 86.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, השם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב ביד נביאך, וכרזה אל זה ואמר.
Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh,
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אז בכל רעש גדול, הדבר הזך משמיעים קול, מתנשאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך, מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם בעת תשכון. תתקדש ותתקדש, טוב ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ולנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראינה מלכותך בהדר. davar amur b'shirei uzecha al yedei David Mashiach tzidkecha. Hidushach b'chanadit, v'shivchacha Eloheinu, Kipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed, Yel melech gadol v'kadosh atah.
Continue on our own all the way through page 91. On the bottom of 91.
B'tzefer chayim bracha v'shalom u'parnasa tova nizocher v'nitkatev lefanecha anachnu kol amcha beit Yisrael l'chaim tovim u'l'shalom Baruch atah Adonai Oseh HaShalom
up to be on page 92, Avinu Malkeinu, and we invite Obi Clark and my wife Karen Bloom up to open the ark. And although she's just walking in, Denise Davis is also going to come up to the bima, and she's going to do the Max Janowski version of Avinu Malkeinu, and then we'll come together at the end for the refrain that you know well. So Avinu Malkeinu, page 92. Karen and Obi, come on up. Please rise. We'll give you a second, don't worry. Still rise. The next ark openers are for the Torah service, not Avinu Malkeinu. A melody that I grew up hearing, and it really speaks of the high holidays to me. So we tend to do it a lot, even though the words are not exactly the same as are in the book, and it jumps around.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, 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 Ki ein lanu ma'asim, Asei manu, tzedakah v'chesed, Asei manu, tzedakah v'chesed,
The ark is closed. Yashakov, thank you so much, Denise. We may be seated briefly. You're going to be standing up very soon again. We're going to be on 94, Kaddish Shalem.
Yirkadali, Yirkadashemei Rabba, Biyamad Ibrachim Teli Amlik Mafute, Bechayecho Uviyomecho, Uchayedecho Ben Yisrael, Ba'aglav Isman Karibim Rumein, Yeheshmei Rabba Milhora, Leolam Ulamei Amaya, Yehorak Yishtabak, Yitma'ar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh, Yittadar, Yittaleh, Yittalah, Shemene Kudishah, Berihu. Eila, Eila, Mikol Birchata, Beshirata, Tushbechata, Benechemata, Ta'amiram, Li'alam, Adiyim, Rumein, Titkabal, Slot, Chol, Bot, Chol, Dechol Yisrael, Kadam, Bon, Nishmaya, Ve'im, Rumein, Yehishlam, Araba, Min Shemaya, Ve'chaim, Aleinu, Ve'yalko Yisrael, Ve'im, Rumein, Oseh Shalom, Bimromah, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'yalko Yisrael, Ve'yalko Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'im,
Thank you so much, John, not just for leading Shachari today, but also every Monday and Thursday. Minion, thank you so much for all you do for our community. We're now going to turn to page 96 for the Torah service. We invite Afshi and Yael Barrow to stand by the ark in preparation for its opening. And we invite Torah carriers Arjun Bornstein and Joseph Charlesworth up to be at this time as well. And we invite Hazani Yael Krieger to lead us in prayer, page 96.
Hey, kamocha Elohim Adonai v'yekemasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imod le'olam va'ed Adonai yos le'elohim te'im Adonai v'harech et amo v'shalom Aharavim eitiva betzon ha'eretz Zion Tibneh Omot Yerushalayim Tibneh Omot Yerushalayim Kivecha levatanu Melech le'olam ve'isa Adonai
We rise as the ark is open.
Vayomer Moshe ve'afusu oirecha ve'anusu besanecha mipanecha ki Mitzyon
top middle, really. Ve'an aramitz. I will not be shaking hands as I walk around, so please don't extend it.
You guys have an early honor? Usually the younger folks don't come up to the front until they're ready for an honor. It's great.
be seated. And balcony, you'll get the Torah on the way back. One of the Torahs will make its way upstairs too. All right. By the way, mostly honors go to teens or new members who I think might be in services. A lot of the new members are families and will be in the children's services during the Torah reading, so it's kind of a guess. If you're not a new member and you have an honor, it's either because there are only so many people I trust doing the Hanba with the heavy Torah, or somebody said no, and I opened the directory and picked somebody. It's not like the old days where you got to buy the honors, or if it was for how much you did or do for the congregation. So many of you do so much, so please don't take it as a slight if you don't get an honor. And we're super proud of our teens who are our Torah readers, and you'll notice the trope is a little different on Rosh Hashanah. We're going to be on page 100, the first Aliyah. God visited Sarah, or took note of, it's translated. Fakad is, I would translate as visited Sarah. And basically this is the part, it's going to start with her having Isaac, and then you'll see some conflict between Hagar and Sarah and Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac. And for the first Torah reader, we call upon Cavilia Schwartz, and for the first Aliyah, Isla and Henry Ross. Second Aliyah, we're still on page 100. Yashar Koach, thank you so much, Camille. And the son is now born. For the second Torah reader, we call upon Solomon Riegelham. And for the Aliyah, they're all classmates in our 9th grade, we call upon Akash Bornstein and Aaron Eliyahu.
Yandu, Aram ben Daniel, Aram ben Abi Torah, Sheni.
Amen. Abraham ben Hashanah, Behivalego, et Yitzchak benu, Vatomer Sarah, Zecho, Asali Elohim, Ho Hashamea, Yitzchak li, Vatomer, Milei Abraham, Mini Sarah, Kialadati Nizuna, Vayuta Vayeled Vayilama, Vayas Abraham, Vishnei Yado, V'yom Yigamel Yitzchak, Vateres Sarah, Eben Hagar, Hamitri, Asher Yogal Abraham, Mitzachei, Vatomer Abraham, Garesh, Ha'amahazot V'yepenan, Kilo V'irash Ben Hamahazot, Ibeni Im Yitzchak, Vayera Hadavar, Me'od Ve'enei Abraham, Odopenu, Vayomer Elohim, Al Abraham, Al Yira Ve'enecha, Al Hana Ve'al Matecha, Kol Asher Tomar Elecha, Sarah Shema V'kola, Ki Yitzchak, Yikar Lecha, Zara.
Third Aliyah, chapter 21, verses 13 through 21. And now we begin the tension between Sarah and Hagar. We call upon Tamar Brinus, past president of Oakland DDG, along with Georgia and Balaam Poston, who are also quite involved in the chapter for the Aliyah.
Round two, Baal Gentil, Benera, Benel, Joshua, Believer Gentil, Shrishi.
Vayishma Elohim et kol hanar, vayikra malach Elohim el Hagar min hashamayim, vayomer la Malach Hagar, Al Tiri, Kishama Elohim, El Kohanar, Basher Sham. Kumi Seiyat Anar, Behachazikiyat Yadeh, Bo, Kiligor Gadol Asimeinu, Vayivkach Elohim et Einecha, Vatera, Bermayim, Vatelech, Vatmale et Hachem et Mayim, Vatash et Anar, Vayehi Elohim et Anar, Vayigdal, Vayeshev b'midbar, Vayehi Rovek Hashatz, Vayeshev b'midbar Paran, Vatikach lo imo, Yisha me'eretz Mitzrayim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam natan Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten
On page 102, and this is Avimelech and Abraham and their conflict and eventual pact. We call upon another past president of Open BBG, Shayna Silverswide, to read the Torah, and Ruby Sadekman and Simone Weiss for the Aliyah.
Ramdu, Penina Viva, Joshua Chaim, Besar Rivka, Simon, Joshua, Malcha Elisheva, Rafiki.
Baruch atah Adonai, noten Torah. Amen. Vayahi va'etahi, vayomer Avimelech, ufichut tzedakot el Abraham lemor, Elohim achah b'chol asher atah oseh. Vayatah Yishavali Elohim heina, im tishkor li, unini olachti, kachesed asher asiti machat taseh imati, vayim haaretz asher garta ba, vayomer Abraham anochi shaveya, v'chochiach Abraham et Avimelech, Alodot ba'er hamayim, asher gazu avdei Avimelech. Vayomer Avimelech, lo yadati yasad hadvar hazeh, v'gam ata lo higadet li, v'gam anochi lo shamati yoti hayom. Vayikach Abraham tzon bakar, vayitem le'Avimelech, vayifratu shneihem be'ris. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten
And the fifth Aliyah, more on Abraham and Avimelech. We call upon Jonah Abrami to read the Torah, and Lindsay and Marty Cottle for the Aliyah.
Ramdu, Leah Shoshana, Naomi, Bataron Yosef, Adela Rivka, Manishi.
Vayomer Avimelech el Abraham, Ma Hena Sheva Kivasot Ha'ele Asher Hitzavta Levadana Vayomer Ki Et Sheva Kivasot Tikach Miyadi Va'avor Tiali Le'eda Ki Chafarti Et Haver Hazo All came Kara Lamakom Hahu Be'er Shava Ki Sham Nishbe'u Shnehem Vayifertu Verit Be'er-shava Vayakom Avimelech Ufifo Sarsiva'o Vayashuvu El Eretz Plishtim Vayita Eshel Be'er-shava Vayikra Sham B'Shem Adonai El Olam Vayagor Abraham Be'eret Plishtim Yamim Rabim.
Please rise.
Yikata, v'yikata, shemerova. Yivram piruteh, yamlich
We remain standing for the first Chagva and Galila. We call upon first and third grader. I'm kidding, they were that when I arrived here, but definitely not anymore. Greg Korn and Jason Finkelstein.
Ya'amod ha'magir, ya'amod ha'yolel. Shah.
seated, the Machtir Aliyah. It's found on, jump ahead, I believe, to page 106. The additional offering to be brought on Rosh Hashanah, and we call upon Oscar Mendelson to read the Torah, and another past president of Open BBG for the Aliyah, Galvin Fickus.
Yama, Gazella, Pot Meir, Amathir.
Usirizim echad, chatat, lechaper, alechem, milvad, olat hachodesh, uminchata, velat hatamin uminchatam, v'nizkechem kemishpatam, l'reach michoach, yisher Adonai.
And Yasher Koach to all our wonderful Torah readers, Camelia, Solomon, Tamar, Shana, Jonah, and Oscar. Inclusive blessing for all who read. Mishaber Chavatenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Chavalea Uvrech Ekol Hakurim Asher Alo Alu Hayom Lekol Makom Likvod HaTorah V'Likvod Yom Din Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yishmor Otam V'Kol Mishpachotehem V'Yishlach Ravatzacha V'Kol Masedehem V'Yiktevem V'Yachtemem V'Chaim Tovim V'Zeh Yom Hadin Yimko Yisrael Achehem V'Achotehem V'Nomar Amen. And reading a list of those who are ill. And we're going to have a special choral Misha Barak, so we invite all our Misha Barak singers, who I definitely see Jeannie and Jill and Judy. We're thinking especially today of Scott Lawrence, Talia Bat Razel, Barbara Rose, Ilya Volk, Karina Golda Bat Hout, Yehuda Tzvi, Levi Bat Shana, Shabtai Dobin, Shimon Moshe, Ray Renshaw, Rosie Berman, Yechiel Ben, Eliza Shulmit Bat Leah, Marina Gatchak, Elisa Bat Rob, Raphael Ben Esther, Moshe Ben Ruvain, Aaron McCann, Patricia Del Puente Rose, Rachel Shulamit Bat Yehudi, Leroy Muzzy, Rachel Bat Asper Fruma, Yitzchak Ben Natan Sarah, Mary Beshu Brower, Bill Hale, Rivka Bat Shmuel Vapola, Yoni Yosef Ben Shmuel, Eliana Bat Gila Badon, Yoshua Ben Malka Tova, Bluma Bat Essie Ruvain, Nisha Bat Edis. If you have any other names of those who are ill, please say them out loud at this time.
Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. ease our sorrow.
Give us courage, give us strength, show us the way. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Beautifully done. We rise once again for Hadba and Galila. We call upon Josh and Lisa Sadaka. Those stay standing until the Torah is put, I'm not sure where, but somewhere. The Haftorah can be found on page 108, paralleling the Torah portion. We have Hannah's infertility and her fervent prayers for a baby, which eventually are answered, and her son Samuel is dedicated to the priesthood. We may be seated now, and we call upon Galvin Ficus to chant the Haftorah, page 108.
ונתת למתך זרע אנשים, ונתתי לאדוני כל ימי חייו, ונורא לא ירא ראשו. ויקים אתה להתפלל לפני אדוני, ולי שומר פיה. וחנה היא מדברת על ליבך, רק שתי ענות, וקולה לא ישמע, ויחשביה אלי לשיפורה. ויאמר לה אלי, עד מתי תשקרי? הסיר עינך מעלייך. ותן חנה ותאמר לו, אדוני, אישה שרף אנוכי, ויין ושחר לא שתיתי, אשפוך את נפשי לפני אדוני. אל תיתן את אמתך לפני בקריה, כי מרוב זכרי, וחצי דיברתי עד הנה. ויען אלי, ויאמר לפי לשלום, אלוהי ישראל, ייתן את שאלותך אשר שאלתנו. ותאמר, תמצא שפחתך בין עיניך, ותלך אישה לדרכתך, ופניה לא היו לה עוד. וישכימו בבוקר, וישתחוו לפני אדוני, וישובו. ויבואו לביתם הרמתה, ויגאל חנה אשתו, ויזכר אדוני. ויהי לתקופות הימים, ותחנה ותלד בן, ותקרא את שמו שמואל, כי מאדוני שלטיו. ויהי חנה וכל ביתו, לפתוח אדוני, את זבח הימים בניג'ו. וחנה לא עלתה, כי אמרה לאישה, אל יגמל הנער בראותי. ונראה את פני אדוני, וישב שם עד עולם. ויאמר לה, אלקנה אישה, עשי הטוב בעינייך, שבי הגומלך הטוב, יעקם אדוני ברוב, ותשב האישה ותנהג בנה, עגומה אותו. ותלכו עמך אשר גמלתו, בפרים שלושה בפל אחד קמח ונער ויין, ותביאו את אדוני שילה, ונער. וישחטו את הפר, והביאו את הנער אל עלי. ותאמר בי אדוני, חי נפשך אדוני, אני האישה, הניצבת עמך בזה להתפלל אל אדוני. אל הנער הזה התפללתי, ויתן אדוני לי את שאלתי, אשר שאלתי ממנו. וגם אנוכי השאלתי אל אדוני כל ימים אשר היה, ושאלו אל אדוני, וישפטו שם לאדוני. ויתפלל חנה ותאמר, עלה צבי באדוני, רמה קרני באדוני. רחבי אלוהי בי, כי שמחתי בישועתך. אם קדוש אדוני כי אין בלתך, אין צור כאלוהינו. אל תרבו תדברו גבוהה גבוהה, יצא עתיד מפיכם, כי אל דעות אדוני, ולא נתפתו עלילות. חשק גיבורים פרטיים, ונכשלים אז ירחיו. זעים בלחם יצמרו, אויבים פתאלו, עד הקרא ילדה שיבה, ורב הפנים ומעלה. אדוני מני תחיי, מוריד שאול ויעל. אדוני מוריד ומשאיר, משפיע לך מרומם. הקים מעפר טל, אשפוט ירים עליון, לפשיבי נדיבים, לכיסך לא ינחילם. כי אדוני מתוקי ארץ, וישב עליהם תבל. רגליך עשית לשמור, ורשעים בחושך ידמו, כי לא בכוח כיכר איש. אדוני יחפצו מריביו, עליו בשמיים יורם. אדוני עדין נפשי הארץ, ויתן עוז למלכו, וירם קרן משיחו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות. הנאמן אומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו,
We will miss you greatly, Galvin, when you are in college next year. So yeah, she's done that Haftarah for the last 5 years now. So, but they graduate and then they do it in college, if they want to, and if their Hillel or Chabad is organized enough to ask them. And even when you call the Hillel or Chabad to ask them, and you tell them to ask your son to do it, and they say yes, but they don't actually contact. Oh, sorry, that was my story. Anyhow. So we are about, in a few moments, we're going to have the first of our shofar services. But before we do that, we're going to call upon the president of the congregation, David Goodwin, who has done such an outstanding job that we asked him to take on a third year, which he is doing right now. And the amount of work and behind-the-scenes things that it takes to be president is truly appreciated. So thank you, David, for all you do. Yeah? Here you go.
Good Yontif, Shana Tova. Very exciting to be doing this in front of people. For anyone who's watching, the sanctuary is maybe 3/4 full, if you include the balcony. And if there's anyone in the back who needs a seat, there's room over in the front, on the left, and in the middle, on the right. A long-standing tradition at TBA is for the president to start the annual address with a report on the state of the congregation. And so I will start with my report for 5783. And I'm pleased to say that our state is good. We finished our fiscal year that ended on July 1st with a balanced budget, thanks in part to the great generosity of our members. We have no debt. Our operations are well managed. As to the balance sheets, our revenues have increased. We watch our expenses carefully. Our membership numbers have held steady. We have another balanced budget planned for the current fiscal year, and thus far, we're on budget. We've all been thinking about our executive director, Raina Arnold, who's been on medical leave the past 5 months, and we're thankful that Raina expects to resume her duties around the beginning of November. In the meantime, we cannot overstate how grateful we are to our office manager, Virginia Tiger, our bookkeeper, Carla Gomez, Joe Lewis and his custodial staff, the rabbi, and the volunteers who helped keep the synagogue office running in Raina's absence. As to education, the Beit Sefer is fully enrolled with 110 students, and the Gan is fully enrolled with 50 full-time students. Kinder Gym is resumed, and it draws dozens of families each week. We thank Susan Simon and Rachel Fenves and their staffs, as well as Dawn Margolin for educating our children, and Susan and the rabbi and many others for educating our teens and our adults. And as you know, our religious services have been in person for the past year. Here in the sanctuary, windows open, although occasionally we have services outside in the Murray Davis courtyard. Regular services are morning minyan at 8 a.m. on Mondays and Thursdays, Kabbalat Shabbat services on Friday at 6:15, Shabbat services here at 9:30, followed by a Kiddush lunch. And I think I can safely say that there is no congregation in this country that has better food at a Kiddush lunch than we do. Many thanks to our fabulous chefs, and of course to Josh Mailman for helping us stream services to members who are unable to attend in person. And those of you who come to services regularly will know that the number of people attending services is roughly the same as it was before the pandemic. And if you haven't been coming to services in person, we urge you to join us. Another feature of our past year is that we've had many B'nai Mitzvah. Some are postponed because of the pandemic, and others on their original schedules, and every single one of them has been lovely. We have amazing young people in our congregation, as the Torah reading that you just heard reflects. And there's nothing in my job as president of the congregation that gives me more pleasure than listening to a bar or bat mitzvah chant the Torah and the Haftarah and address the congregation, and then presenting the B'nai Mitzvah with the congregation's gift. The rabbi wanted me to mention an interesting thing that happened to me in my work this past summer. As many of you know, I'm a lawyer and I work for a very large law firm, and we usually have in our office many summer associates, and I got chatting first with a new associate who'd been around for a few months, and then 3 summer associates who discovered that all 4 of them had Jewish mothers and none of them had a bat mitzvah, and all of them wanted to have a bat mitzvah. So I may become a bat mitzvah teacher, and maybe a year from now we will have an adult bat mitzvah. So in gathering here today and gathering here for services every week, we thank our Chazanit Yal Krieger and our Gabbai Marshall Langfeld, Joan Corinne, who organized the Torah and the Haftarah reading, and the amazing Jacqueline Polchik, who's in charge of honors for the High Holiday services, our ushers and our volunteers, and our many members who've led services over the past year. We also thank Jan Kessler and the members of the Board of Trustees for capably managing the congregation's endowment, and the Board of Directors and our officers, our treasurer, our vice presidents, and our secretary for their service. I note that one of our members of the Board of Directors, Laura Gabrielle, had a column about her new book in today's Chronicle, which was very exciting. And of course, we thank the rabbi most of all for his dedication, his inspired leadership, and his steadiness through the pandemic, and as we gradually approach something that's close to normal life. And most important, we all want to thank you, our members, for your support for the congregation over the past 2.5 difficult years. If you're here in person or you're watching and you have not joined Temple Beth Abraham, please do so. And when on Yom Kippur you're asked to give a donation to the congregation, please do give generously. You are the ones who make a difference. My final thanks is to you, the members, for giving me the opportunity to serve the congregation as its president. I want you to know that it has been an honor to serve. The rabbi last night mentioned his themes, at least for last night's Rosh. And of course, I hadn't heard it until last night, but I did have a few really quick thoughts as it applies to me. He mentioned 3 themes. One is humility, the second is unity, and the third is the inevitability of death. Not that I'm planning on that in the short term. In the humility area, after working as a lawyer for, not full-time, I'd say about 150% for the last 40 years, on Friday is my last day as a full-time lawyer, and I am going to work part-time after that. And I have to let go, which is going to be very difficult because I like to have everything just right. so it will be interesting. And on the unity part, we're here. I mean, this is exciting. And on the, that we will all die, any of you who've actually read what I've written for the Omer, I sometimes talk about the books I've been reading. So I was in the library and found a book called Doom, which I thought was kind of appropriate, by Niall Ferguson, who's a scholar whose politics I don't necessarily agree with, but he's a very engaging writer. And on the back page of the book, where, when you get a new book, it says praise for the book. So at the back of my copy, it says praise for Doom. And then my other piece of literature on this was reading a magazine article recently, and I think the only other person in our congregation who will read the same magazine as Alan Wolf. So if you're here, you'll have read this too, which is, someone said that life is like a roll of toilet paper. It goes more quickly when you get to the end. So, the world has really changed in the 2 years since I first gave this speech. 2 years ago, Justice Ginsburg had just died the day before. Little did we know what the consequences of that would be. And I spoke to a room that had 10 people in it, including me. We had a minyan. Services were streamed. And I ended that speech with a series of wishes for the coming year. And I went back and I looked at the speech a few days ago, and I realized that my batting average, if applied to the Oakland A's, would in fact decrease their winning percentage. So I'll just stick with 2 wishes for this coming year. That we will all be here a year from now in person and in health. And I wish Gamar Chatima Tova, may you and your loved ones be sealed in the book of life for a sweet and a good new year. Thank you.
David, thank you so much. And thank you for thanking so many people, all of whom deserve it and more. And there are more of you who, of course, deserve to be thanked. We're about to do the shofar service. I realized I forgot to do one thing in the beginning, which is something I do at all the bar bat mitzvahs, which is remind people to leave their masks on. We're going to carry that policy at least through Yom Kippur. And that's the first thing. We have a number of immunocompromised people here, so that's why we do it, especially for such a large crowd. Number 2, even though we have cameras staring at us in the face, please make sure phones are turned off and put away. And 3rd, should there be an emergency, we have emergency exits all over the place, the open door there, both wings of the bima, out the center door and down the stairs, out the left as well by the elevator. So, just to be safe, we list all those things. And now, we get to hear the shofar. All right, so we're going to turn now, we're going to dispense with all the intro stuff and kind of go right to it. We're going to turn to page 119. We also invite the women of TBA to sit on the bima at this time. And we invite our Baal Tekiah for this morning, still morning, yes, Gary Shern, and our Baal Tekiah for the afternoon, Aaron Paul, who will be reciting the calls. Please rise, 119. Hazinel will start with Min HaMetzar.
Min HaMetzar Karatia Nadira Merchavia Koli Shamata Alta Lemoznecha Lerachati Leshavati Rosh Tevachai Hemet Uleolam Umishpat Zihitecha Arov Avdecha V'Tov Ayashtuni Zehim Sasanochi Al Imratecha Kemotzei Shalal Rav Tukta Amadat Lamdeni Kimi V'Mitzvotecha Hemanti Nivot Piretzei Adonai Umishpatecha Lamdeni
אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו מצוותיו וציוונו לשמוע קול שופר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והחיינו לזמן הזה. אמן.
תקיעה! שברים קרועה! תקיעה! תקיעה! שברים קרועה! תקיעה! תקיעה! שברים קרועה! תקיעה! תקיעה! שברים! תקיעה! תקיעה! שברים! תקיעה! תקיעה! שברים! תקיעה! תקיעה! תרועה! תקיעה! תקיעה! תרועה! תקיעה! תקיעה! תרועה! תקיעה גדולה!
Yashatoa, you may be seated. And except for 7th and 8th graders, come on up to the Bima right now for Ashrei. 7th and 8th graders, come on up. They're be on page 120. Torah to the Ark, and we call upon Eitan Shotlin and Avi Mainberg to stand by the Ark in preparation for its opening, and to carry the Torah, Asa Masliya and Ethan Silverswag.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki nizkar Shemo
down the middle.
Be seated. We're going to close our books for a few moments. Shana Tova once again. You are cordially invited to join me and Karen on our honeymoon. Not literally, of course, that was in 1994. over 28 years ago, but together today we're going to take a symbolic journey to Athens, Greece, where we spent the first few days of our honeymoon. In case you missed last night's sermon on Erev Rosh Hashanah, and let's be honest, most of you did miss last night's sermon on Erev Rosh Hashanah, I introduced the theme that will connect all my High Holiday sermons together. Last year, the theme was the ups and downs of life, the journey of life, the vicissitudes of life. And this year, it's a very loose theme, but all the sermons will relate in some way, shape, or form to Greek or Greece. And we started last night with the Greek alphabet, or at least the 3 letters with which you are most familiar: Alpha, Delta, and Omicron. But if you were here last night, you know I can do the whole alphabet 3 times before a match burns. Last night, it was all about lessons from the pandemic, from year 3 of the pandemic. But today, we're headed to Athens, where I had 2, it seems a little dramatic, but really life-changing, or at least rabbinic trajectory-changing experiences. One which emphasized my connection to Judaism, and the other, my disconnection. So we arrived in Athens, jet-lagged as one normally is from an international flight, and Karen and I have different ways of dealing with jet lag. She wanted to stay in the room and kind of rest it off, and I was too antsy, so I wanted to walk around, and I walked to the Athens synagogue. And I arrived in time for morning minyan, and this was on purpose anyway. It was my best guess that I would get there in time, that they would have one, and they did. And I was greeted by 2 ushers who spoke no English, and beyond the Greek alphabet 3 times before a match burn, I don't know any Greek at all. So we had to communicate in a sort of broken Hebrew. And they asked me if I would take an honor. Now the truth is, you're actually never supposed to refuse an honor if you're capable. And so I said yes. But the problem was I didn't exactly know what I was saying yes to. I actually understood the Hebrew pretty well. It was very simple. He said, "Ata rotzeh lakachet et haTorah," which means, do you want to take the Torah? But what does that mean? Okay, does it mean take it and lift it? A la Greg Korn and Josh Sadekman, Hagba? Does it mean walk it around the room, the Torah carrier, as was just done, all the way to the balcony by Ethan and Asa? I didn't know. But Torah service time comes, I go up to the bima, I'm following the service along, and as it turns out, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to take the Torah out of the ark myself and walk it around the room. No problem. I've done this many times. But you see, I like to carry the Torah on my left shoulder, even though I'm right-handed, and it's more traditionally carried on the right shoulder. And I like to walk nice and slowly, give everyone a chance to touch it and kiss it, but they wanted me to move quickly to get on with the service. So, I'm walking around, they're trying to get me, like literally, to move the Torah from my left shoulder to the right. They're pushing me in the back to move me along faster. And they're yelling at me in a language that doesn't sound like Greek or Hebrew. But I made it. The Torah arrived safely. We read it. And when it came time to return the Torah to the ark, I made sure I carried it on my right shoulder, and I walked very, very quickly. So despite the sort of communication mishaps and the comedy of the situation, I loved it. Okay? I really felt a connection to Judaism, Jewish ritual, these Greek Jews in particular. Because Jewish rituals transcend time and space. Because if you think about it, I could have been anywhere in the world, any time in the last 1,000 years or so, and the customs and the rituals basically would have been the same. You have this shared language, this shared ritual, these shared customs. And I really felt a moment of connection. And I didn't know anything about these Greek Jews. I didn't know whether they were born in Greece or moved there from somewhere else. I didn't know if they were rich or poor. I didn't know what they did for a living. I didn't know if they were married or single. I didn't know if they had children or were childless. I didn't know whether they were members of the Panhellenic Socialist or New Democrat Party. I didn't know any of these things, and none of it mattered because we were connected to each other through our shared ritual and custom. It was a real moment of connection for me to Klal Yisrael and Am Yisrael, which means the totality of the Jewish people. But at the same time that I had that really tremendous feeling of connection, I had a moment of disconnection, where just after they invited me to take the Torah, they handed me a set of tefillin. Tefillin, for those who don't know, are the prayer boxes and straps. I'll describe them more in just a moment. And I said, lo toda, no thank you, which apparently was not the right answer. Because they pushed them back to me and they said, chiyuv, it's an obligation, not a choice. And then I kept trying in broken Hebrew to say no, but then they took them out of the bag and started wrapping me. So why did I say no? Well, in my mind I said no because I didn't personally find tefillin meaningful. It wasn't part of my personal spiritual practice. But if I were going to be honest with myself, that was just a rationalization. Because the truth was, even though I'd done it a few times before, I didn't remember how to do it properly. And I was embarrassed. Doubly so, because I was about to be a fifth-year rabbinical student. Meaning less than a year away from being ordained as a rabbi. So why didn't I know? For although I've been a conservative rabbi for the past 25 years or so, I attended the Cincinnati campus of the Reform Rabbinical School Hebrew Union College. And in the 90s, not only were they not really teaching us tefillin, I would say that most of the faculty and staff were sort of actively opposed to the whole idea. Now, that is not the case today. All right, there are scores of rabbinical students, Reform rabbis, male and female, who wear tefillin regularly. But at that time, it was frowned upon. Now, I'll get back to that in just a moment, but a little explanation about tefillin, a little more about it for those who don't know what I'm talking about or what it is. If you have an image in your mind, it's these leather prayer boxes and leather straps that traditional Jews wrap themselves in every morning in daily prayer, but not on holidays and not on Shabbat. So if you've never seen them, that's because most of us go, when we go, on Shabbat or holidays. But if you go to morning minyan, or if you're in private prayer, a traditional Jew will put on tefillin. Why do we do it? Well, in the Ve'ahavta, it says, Ukshartam leot al yadecha ve'yu totafot beineinecha, which means you shall bind them as a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol between your eyes. So you put, and the rabbinic sages took this literally. They put the prayers in these boxes. You put one on your arm right next to your heart, the other on your head, and you're connecting the head and the heart. You wrap the strap 7 times around your forearm, symbolic of the 7 days of creation, and then the final wraps form the Hebrew letters Shaddai, big shin right here, very prominent, which is one of the names of God. Now, at first, when you wear tefillin, it feels really strange. But when you get used to it, it actually feels really good. Now, I'm told that it's because it hits these natural acupressure points. I don't know if that's really true. But what it feels like when I'm doing it right, with intentionality, kavanah, it feels kind of like a hug from God. Or at the very least, like I'm wrapping myself in the traditions of my ancestors. It's It's a powerful connection. But I wasn't feeling any of that connection at the synagogue in Athens that morning. I was just feeling disconnected. And again, I said no, justifying it to myself was because it wasn't meaningful to me, when the truth was I really didn't remember how. And it would take a while before I would learn to tell the truth to myself, and the rest would fall in place. Well, as it was for me in Athens, I find it's true for so many of us as Jews. We tell ourselves we don't have time for some of these rituals, or they're not personally meaningful to us, they're not part of our spiritual practice, and sometimes that is absolutely true. But I would say in my experience, in 27 plus years of serving as a rabbi, often it's because we don't know how to do some of these rituals, and we're embarrassed. It's understandable, right? Who wants to feel like an outsider inside what's supposed to be your own tradition? Right? No one wants to feel like that. And let's be honest, the barriers to participating in Jewish ritual life are very high. First of all, you know what it says to fill in costs? A lot. Joining a synagogue, Jewish education, costs a lot. There's the Hebrew. There's so much to know and learn. So many barriers to participation in Jewish ritual life. It is not easy. But I want to tell you a few things. First of all, you have nothing to be embarrassed about if you don't know. You're not the ones who are about to be ordained as a rabbi, at least that I know of. Secondly, I know it's tempting to feel like you're the outsider and everybody else is an insider. And they all know what they're doing, you have no idea, everybody else knows everything. Let me tell you, the insiders, we don't know as much as you think we do. But most importantly, by foregoing some of these rituals, you may be missing out on something that's really incredible, really beautiful, really meaningful, really spiritual, really connective. But you won't know that until you try. And so I suppose if there's any takeaway from today, it's try some of these rituals that you've never tried before. Try tefillin. I'll help you, and so many of the millionaires will help show you how. Try fasting, not just next week on Yom Kippur. Try fasting on Tisha B'Av, or the 10th of Tevet. Try being Shomer Shabbat, not every week. Try it for a couple of hours, one Saturday afternoon, and see how it goes. Use the time to study Pirkei Avot, which is traditionally studied on Saturday afternoon. Try staying up at least until midnight on Shavuot, studying ancient texts. Not with me, because this year I'll be in Israel on sabbatical in June when Shavuot takes place. But Susan will be there. Try building a sukkah, shaking the lulav and etrog. Try waking up every morning and saying, Modeh ani lefanecha. I am grateful to be alive. Because when you try some of these things, not only will you increase your knowledge base, but you may find yourself connected in ways you never imagined. Connected to the ritual, connected to the community, connected to Temple Beth Abraham, connected to the Jewish people, connected to your ancestors, connected to your best self, connected even to Hashem, our God. Opening line of the Torah portion today, Adonai pakad et Sarah. God visited Sarah, and who knows, but your ritual act really may do nothing less than bring the Shekhinah, God's divine presence, right into your heart and soul. But you won't know unless you try, and try often. So this year, 5783. Try some of these things. You never know how connected you might feel. Avoid the temptation of just saying, hey, it's all great to me. Instead, connect yourself and start this year. 5783. May it be a good and sweet one for all of you. Shana Tova. Thank you for joining us on our honeymoon. We're now going to continue with our Musaf service, which will be led by Chazanit Yael Krieger. It begins with the Chatzah Kaddish on page 123. Please rise. Begins on page 125. Goes all the way to 140. 139. going to now repeat the Amidah back on page 141. And I know sometimes it says the ark is opened, and we don't always do what it says in the book in terms of our focus. We won't open it until the Unatana Toka, but that's coming up pretty soon. For now, page 141. We rise, yes, as the ark is now open by Paul Yegorth and Michelle Hoffman for Unatane Toka.
Ki hu no ובוא תנסה מלכותך, ויקום בחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת, ותשב עליו באמת. אמת כי אתה דיין מוכיח ויודע ועד, וכותב בסופר ומונהל, ותזכור כל הנשכחות, ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות, ומעליו יקרב וחותם יד כל אדם בו, ושופר גדול ייתקע, וכל דממה דקה יישמע, ומלאכים יחפזון, וחיל ורדה יאחזון, ויאמרו הנה יום הדין, לפקוד על צבא מרום בדין, כי לא יזכו בעיניך בדין, וכל באי עולם יעברו לפניך כבני מרום, כבקרת רועה עדרו, מעביר צאנו תחת שבטו, כן תעביר ותספור ותמנה, ותפקוד נפש כל חי, ותחתוך קצבה לכל בריאה, ותכתוב את צער דינם, מראש השנה ייכתבו, ויום סוף כיפור יכתבו, מראש השנה ייכתבו, ויום סוף כיפור יכתבו. המה יעברו וכמה יברחו, מי יחיה ומי ימות, מי בקיצור מי לא בקיצור, מי באש ומי במים, מי בחרב ומי בחיה, מי ברעב ומי בצמא, מי בצמא. בראש השנה ייכתבו, וביום צום כיפור יכתבו, בראש השנה ייכתבו, וביום צום כיפור יכתבו. מי ברעש ומי במגפה, מי בחניקה ומי בהסתירה, מי בסקילה, בראש השנה ייכתבו, וביום צום כיפור יכתבו, בראש השנה ייכתבו, וביום צום כיפור יכתבו. מי ינוע ומי ינוע,
Hashanah is written and on Yom Kippur it is sealed. How many will pass on and how many will be born? Who will live and who will die? Who will live a long life and who will come to an untimely end? Who will perish by fire and who by water? Who by sword and who by beast? Who by hunger and who by thirst? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who will be strangled and who will be stoned? Who will be at peace and who will be troubled? Who will be serene and who will be disturbed? Who will be tranquil and who will be tormented? Who will be impoverished and who will be enriched? Who will be brought low and who will be raised up? The teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny. Each person's origin is dust, and each person will return to the earth having spent life seeking sustenance. Scripture compares human beings to a broken shard, withering grass, shriveled flower, a passing shadow, a fading cloud, a fleeting breeze, scattered dust, a vanishing dream. And you are the sovereign living God, ever present. At the very bottom of page 144, Aseh leman shemecha, as the ark is closed.
עשה למען שמך וקדש שמך ומקדש שמך ועבור כבוד שמך הנערץ והנקדש.
We remain standing for the Kedusha, page 145.
יסוד שיח שרפי קודש המקדישים שמך בקודש דרכי מעלם עם דרכי מטה ככתוב היד יביאך וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני
You may be seated, and we're in the middle of page 146, the whole Ma'aminim, stanza Aleph. Page 151. Turn now to the Great Aleinu on 154. We invite Karen Smith and Colleen David to come on up and open the ark. We're not only going to rise for the Great Aleinu, this is a time where, if you're so inclined, you'll join me on the bima and lie down prostrate in front of the ark. You can also do it in the aisles. This is the tradition. On Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Aleinu was written for this part of the service. This is the second shofar service, of which there are three themes: Malchuyot, Zichronot, and Shofarot, which means sovereignty, remembrance, and shofar, which is really revelation. So I'd also like to call upon Aaron Paul, who's going to blow the shofar. Is Gary still here or no? So Gary, how about you do the call? So if that's all right with you, we're going to reverse the two of you. So you have come on up at this time as well. And we all rise now. Go ahead and open the ark. And anyone who wants to join me on the bima for the Great Aleinu. So as a reference to last night, so you can really be nothing this year.
live here too, so it's you know, you have to fly her back.
Right, we are going to go now to page 158. We remain standing as the shofar is now blown. And Gary is going to do the calls, and Aaron is going to be blowing the shofar.
Tekiah, Svarim Trua, Tekiah, Tekiah, Svarim, Tekiah. Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah.
Hayom haratonam, hayom namid b'mishpat, yitzurei olamim, im kevanim, im kevanim rachamenu kevahem avadim, ve'im avadim enenu chatzeluyo, עד שתפוננו מתוך ציפור משפטנו היום קדוש. הרי ששפתנו ירד וחמנה אל רם ונישא. הרי ששפתנו ירד וחמנה אל רם ונישא. דמינו מזימה מתומה הקשיב לכל
Right, we turn now to 162, the paragraph Izoker, the middle paragraph. Prepare to do the Zichronot part of the shofar service.
Izocher כל נשכחות אתה ומעולם, להמשיכך לכתיסך קודמך, ויחלדת יצחק לזו היום ברחמים תזכור, ברוך אתה אדוני, זוכר הברית.
Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shvarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Trua. Tekiah.
היום הרת עולם, היום ימים במשפט, כה יצורי עולמים, אם כבנים רחמנו, כרחם הבנים, ואם כבנים בינינו התלויות, עד שתפוננו את הציפאון, משפטנו היום קדוש. הרי שפתנו ירד לפניך, אל רם ונישא. הרי שפתנו ירד לפניך, אל רם ונישא. מבינו מזימה מדומה אנשים, לכל Seder, Seder, Zichronotenu.
Right, we turn to the final of the three themes, Shofarot. We turn to page 166, the paragraph Kiata Shomea.
Kiata Shomea, Koshofar, Ma'azir, Truaim, Gomdala, Baruch atah Adonai, Shomea kol tfurat amo Yisrael berachamim.
Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shvarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Tekiah Gedolah.
We may be seated. 167.
ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון מונים אנחנו לך שאתה בורנו אלוהי אבותינו ולכם צור חיים מגן שהגיעו אתה ולדורנו ונגלת הציבת לך חיים יוצרים בידיך
If you have children in childcare and you want them to come up for Ein Eloheinu, please go get them now. They have to be signed out. They're not going to come up like they would on a normal Shabbat. So, children in childcare, please go get them now.
וכל תקלה, וכל תקלה, וכל מיני פרעניות, וכל גזירה רעה, ושנאת חינם, מעלינו ומעל כל בני בריתך ומעל כל העולם, וכתוב לחיים טובים ובני בריתך, וכל החיים יודו סלם יעלו את שבחה באמת, על ישועתנו עזרתנו סלמה, ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך לחנה להודות. אלוהינו ולאבותינו ברכנו בברכה, משולה שבת קורח, כתובה ידי משה עבדך, המורה מפי אהרון בניו, כהנים הקדושך כמוהו, יברכך אדוני וישמרך. ירא אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך ויעשה לך שלום.
169, middle.
שים שלום בעולם טוב וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל ישראל לפניך, ברכנו אבינו כולנו פך באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד, וצדקה וברכה, ורחמים חיים ושלום, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה ישלומך, בספר חיים ברכה ושלום, ופרנסה טובה, ניזכר ונתעטר לפניך. אנחנו בכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום, ונאמר כי וירבו ימיך ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים וחיים טובים תכתבנו אלוהים חיים, כותבנו בספר החיים, כך כתוב ואתם הנביאים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם
the Ark is opened once again by a fairly new member, David Baglin, and former bat mitzvah confirmation student of mine, Sarah Horn. And we invite singers, Jill, Jeannie, and Judy once again. They're going to do a special version of Hayom on page 107.
Just a few quick words before we sing. It is so powerful for us to sing together again and to sing for you and to be together again. This prayer has many prayers embedded in it. Hayom Tamseinu, this day, strengthen us. I hope that we all feel already that prayer answered by being together and praying together today. We will be singing this in English and in Hebrew, and we really hope that you will join your voices and your ruach in the amens. There are many amens in this.
Together in song. We're at the bottom of page 170. I know kids are being patient. It's almost 8 kilometer time.
והיום הזה צביענו ששים ושמחים בבניין שלם, ככתוב יחניקי אחד, לביותי נחר חודשי, שמחתי ובתפילתי, כי ביתי בתפילה יקרא לך עמי. וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום, יהיה לנו לכל ישראל עד העולם. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
Page 11, page 171, with a shofar blow set in the middle.
Shvarim Trua. Tekia. Tekia Gedola.
The congregation as well. Seated in Eloheinu. One up and out from behind. Here they come. recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends. We don't have a list because it's not Shabbat, but we are in the Shloshim for long-time member, 6th generation family, Virzatkin. So we ask all those who are in mourning or observing Yortzeit, anyone who's in the year, and anyone else who would choose to do so to rise from the mourner's couch at this time, page 174. Yitgadal, v'yitgadash, shemei rabbah, v'alma yivrach yirutei, v'yavlit malchutei, v'chayechon, v'yomechon, v'chayechon, v'eit Yisrael, v'gala, v'zman kariv, v'yivru, Yehi shmei rabbah v'vorach, v'olam v'maya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpahar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei kutsha, la'ela, v'yitmol be'erchata, v'shirata, v'tushbechata, v'nechemata, gamiram v'yalma, v'yivru. Yehi rabbah v'yishmaya, v'chayim v'nidgem, v'yalkol Yisrael, v'yivru. Oseh shalom, v'yimroma, Uya aseh shalom, Aleinu v'yalkol Yisrael, v'yivru.
Amen. La'ela, la'ela.
And on the comment members, you can come to say, Pastor, we are blessed you always. Let us say, Amen. Just a few thank yous. Jacqueline Polchik for doing the honors. Josh and Eli Mailman for streaming the service. All the incredible Torah readers and half Torah readings. Chazani, Yael Krieger, our special singers, and everybody else who had a part in today's service. Tashlich is at 5:30 at Diamond Park with Congregation Beth Jacob. Tomorrow, services are at 9:30. Rabbi Andrea Berlin will be here. She's actually here today too, but tomorrow. She's giving me a break, and she will be giving the drash. In case it went over your head and you don't know already, I am actually going on sabbatical this year. I had one in 2011. Now 12 years later, I'm taking a second one. I'll be gone essentially between the beginning of March and the end of July. I plan to leave just after Purim, and I will be spending most of the time in Israel. Some of you already know, but there will be a congregational trip to Israel to meet us while we're there. And more information is coming this week on that, exactly how to sign up, deposits due, and everything. So that's coming up soon as well. Be on the lookout for your email. Today is the birthday of the world, Hayom Harat Olam, and I did not know this, but somebody told me it is also the birthday of Chazani Yael Krieger. Yom Holedet Sameach, Yom Holedet Sameach, Yom Holedet Sameach, Yom Holedet Sameach. Happy birthday! And I occasionally have a Rosh Hashanah birthday as well, but it sounds like you might have an occasional Yom Kippur birthday sometime this year.
I was born on Yom Kippur, and this is my 40th. During the big 4-0.
I knew that, but I wasn't going to say it, so. That is awesome. All right, well, thanks for celebrating it with a few hundred of your closest friends. Okay, and we might as well honor your birthday wish to sing Adon Olam on page 175.
Adon